Welcome to Certification Terminal. As part of this series, we will discuss a couple of CompTIA Security Plus certification exam questions and answers. What ethical hacking practice led to Bob receiving a $10,000 payout from Microsoft for identifying a security flaw in their .NET platform? Option A, Red Team. Option B, Black Hat. Option C, Bug Bounty. Option D, Vosint. The correct answer is Option C, Bug Bounty. Bug bounty programs are initiatives offered by various organizations, including technology companies like Microsoft, to incentivize ethical hackers to discover and report security vulnerabilities in their systems or software. In this scenario, Bob identified a security flaw in Microsoft's .NET platform and responsibly disclosed it to Microsoft through their bug bounty program. As a result, he received a $10,000 payout from Microsoft as a reward for his efforts in helping them identify and address the security issue. Option A, Red Team, is incorrect. Red Team exercises involve simulated attacks on a system or network to evaluate its security posture. These exercises are typically conducted by internal or external security teams to test defenses and response capabilities. Red Team activities are not directly related to bug bounties, which involve individuals independently identifying and reporting vulnerabilities for rewards. Option B, Black Hat, is incorrect. Black Hat hackers are individuals who exploit security vulnerabilities for malicious purposes such as stealing data, disrupting services, or causing harm. Unlike Bob, who identified and reported the security flaw to Microsoft through their bug bounty program for ethical reasons, Black Hat hackers would exploit such vulnerabilities for personal gain or to cause harm without regard for the consequences or ethical considerations. Option D, Vosint, is incorrect. Vosint stands for Open Source Intelligence, which involves gathering information from publicly available sources to gain insights or intelligence about a target. Vosint is not directly related to the scenario described, as it focuses on information gathering rather than identifying security vulnerabilities in software or systems. Next question. Amanda wants to prevent employees from stealing confidential data. Which control would be least helpful? Option A, implementing data loss prevention systems. Option B, blocking the use of personal email accounts. Option C, building least privilege access controls. Option D, encrypting data in transit. The correct answer is Option D, encrypting data in transit. Encrypting data in transit is a crucial security measure that protects data while it's being transmitted over networks, such as the internet or internal networks. However, it primarily addresses the security of data while it's in motion and may not directly prevent employees from intentionally stealing confidential data. While encrypting data in transit is essential for safeguarding data confidentiality and integrity, it doesn't specifically target or prevent insider threats, where employees intentionally misuse their access privileges to steal sensitive information. Option A, implementing data loss prevention systems, is incorrect. Data loss prevention systems are specifically designed to monitor, detect, and prevent unauthorized or accidental data exfiltration, whether it's through email, web uploads, or other means. DLP systems help enforce policies that prevent sensitive data from leaving the organization's network or endpoints. Thus, implementing DLP systems would be more directly aligned with Amanda's goal of preventing employees from stealing confidential data compared to the other options. Option B, blocking the use of personal email accounts, is incorrect. Blocking the use of personal email accounts is a preventive measure aimed at reducing the risk of data exfiltration through unauthorized channels. By prohibiting employees from using personal email accounts for work-related communication, organizations can exert more control over data transmission and mitigate the risk of data leakage. This control directly addresses the potential avenue through which employees might attempt to steal confidential data and is therefore more helpful than encrypting data in transit for this specific scenario. Option C, building least privilege access controls, is incorrect. Least privilege access controls involve granting employees the minimum level of access required to perform their job functions effectively. By restricting access to sensitive data only to those who need it for their roles, organizations can minimize the risk of unauthorized data access and exfiltration. While least privilege access controls are essential for overall security posture and can mitigate insider threats to some extent, they focus more on controlling access rather than directly preventing data theft. In this scenario, preventing data theft is Amanda's primary concern, and implementing data loss prevention systems or blocking the use of personal email accounts would be more effective measures. Next question. In cryptography, Kirchhoff's principle focuses on the importance of secrecy for which element? Option A, public disclosure of encryption methods. Option B, keeping the key confidential. Option C, regularly changing encryption algorithms. Option D, keeping the algorithm secret. The correct answer is Option B, keeping the key confidential. Kirchhoff's principle, formulated by the Dutch cryptographer August Kirchhoff in the 19th century, states that the security of a cryptographic system should rely on the secrecy of the key, rather than the secrecy of the algorithm or other components. This principle emphasizes that the security of a cryptographic system should not depend on the secrecy of its design or implementation details, but rather on the secrecy of the cryptographic keys. Option A, public disclosure of encryption methods, is incorrect. Kirchhoff's principle actually advocates for the opposite of this option. It suggests that the security of a cryptographic system should not rely on keeping the encryption methods secret. Instead, the methods should be open and subject to public scrutiny, allowing for peer review and analysis to ensure their strength and resilience against attacks. Public disclosure of encryption methods enhances transparency and fosters trust in cryptographic systems. Option C, regularly changing encryption algorithms, is incorrect. Regularly changing encryption algorithms may be a component of good security practice, but it is not the primary focus of Kirchhoff's principle. The principle emphasizes that the security of a cryptographic system should be based on the secrecy of the key, not on changing the algorithms. While updating algorithms can be beneficial to adapt to advancements in cryptanalysis and to address vulnerabilities, it does not replace the importance of keeping the key confidential. Option D, keeping the algorithm secret, is incorrect. This option contradicts Kirchhoff's principle. Kirchhoff's principle asserts that the security of a cryptographic system should not rely on keeping the algorithm secret. Instead, the algorithm should be assumed to be known to attackers, while the security primarily depends on keeping the key confidential. Keeping the algorithm secret can create a false sense of security and does not align with modern cryptographic best practices, which emphasize transparency and open scrutiny of algorithms. Next question. What security tool acts as a gatekeeper, inspecting and filtering incoming and outgoing network traffic based on defined security policies to block unauthorized access? Option A, virtual private network. Option B, intrusion detection system. Option C, network address translation. Option D, access control lists. The correct answer is Option D, access control lists. Access control lists are security features commonly used in networking devices such as routers, switches, and firewalls. They act as gatekeepers by inspecting and filtering network traffic based on predefined security policies. Access control lists can be configured to allow or deny traffic based on various criteria such as source IP address, destination IP address, port numbers, and protocols. By defining rules in access control lists, network administrators can control access to network resources and services, effectively blocking unauthorized traffic and protecting against malicious activities. Option A, VPN, virtual private network, is incorrect. A VPN is a technology used to create a secure and encrypted connection over a public network, typically the internet. While VPNs provide secure communication channels for remote access or connecting disparate networks, they do not inherently act as gatekeepers for inspecting and filtering network traffic. VPNs establish secure tunnels between endpoints, encrypting data during transmission, but they do not inspect traffic or enforce security policies like a firewall or an access control list would. Option B, IDS, intrusion detection system, is incorrect. An intrusion detection system is a security tool designed to monitor network or system activities for signs of malicious behavior or security policy violations. IDSs analyze network traffic patterns and signatures to detect potential threats or attacks. However, IDSs primarily focus on detection rather than actively blocking or filtering traffic. While some IDSs may have the capability to generate alerts or triggers actions based on detected threats, they are not primarily used as gatekeepers to block unauthorized access like access control lists or firewalls. Option C, NAT, network address translation, is incorrect. NAT is a networking technique used to modify network address information in IP packet headers while in transit, typically to conserve IP address space or enable connectivity between networks with different address schemes. NAT does not inherently inspect or filter network traffic based on security policies. While NAT may provide a level of obfuscation by hiding internal IP addresses from external networks, it does not serve as a gatekeeper for actively blocking unauthorized access. Next question. Amanda is building an incident response team. Who, among the following, should hold ultimate responsibility and authority over the team's actions? Option A, Chief Financial Officer, CFO. Option B, Chief Information Officer, CIO. Option C, Chief Executive Officer, CEO. Option D, Chief Information Security Officer, CISO. The correct answer is Option D, CISO, Chief Information Security Officer. The Chief Information Security Officer is typically the individual within an organization who holds ultimate responsibility and authority over matters related to information security, including incident response. The CISO is responsible for overseeing the organization's overall security posture, developing and implementing security policies and procedures, and coordinating incident response efforts. As such, the CISO is best positioned to lead and direct the incident response team during security incidents or breaches. Option A, CFO, Chief Financial Officer, is incorrect. While the CFO may hold significant authority within the organization, their primary focus is typically on financial matters rather than information security. While they may have input or involvement in incident response activities, they do not have the specialized knowledge or expertise in cybersecurity that the CISO possesses. Therefore, it would not be appropriate for the CFO to hold ultimate responsibility and authority over the incident response team's actions. Option B, CIO, Chief Information Officer, is incorrect. The CIO is responsible for overseeing the organization's information technology systems and infrastructure. While the CIO may play a role in incident response, particularly in coordinating technical aspects and ensuring that IT systems are properly secured, their responsibilities may conflict with those of the incident response team, which may require independence from IT management to ensure unbiased assessment and response to security incidents. Therefore, the CIO may not be the most appropriate individual to hold ultimate responsibility and authority over the incident response team. Option C, CEO, Chief Executive Officer, is incorrect. While the CEO holds the highest position of authority within the organization, they are typically not directly involved in day-to-day operational matters, including incident response. The CEO may set the overall strategic direction for the organization, including cybersecurity priorities, but they often delegate operational responsibilities to other executives, such as the CISO. Additionally, the CEO may not have the specialized knowledge or expertise in cybersecurity required to effectively lead incident response efforts. Therefore, while the CEO may have oversight and input into incident response activities, they may not be the most suitable individual to hold ultimate responsibility and authority over the incident response team. Next question. Imagine you need to connect to your company's network remotely and manage files or applications securely. Which protocol facilitates this secure remote access? Option A, Simple Network Management Protocol, SNMP. Option B, Secure Shell, SSH. Option C, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, SMTP. Option D, File Transfer Protocol, FTP. The correct answer is Option B, Secure Shell, SSH. SSH, Secure Shell, is a cryptographic network protocol that provides a secure channel for accessing and managing network resources remotely. It encrypts data transmitted over the network, including login credentials, file transfers, and commands, providing confidentiality and integrity of communication. SSH is commonly used for remote administration, secure file transfer, and tunneling, making it an ideal choice for securely accessing a company's network and managing files or applications from a remote location. Option A, SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol, is incorrect. SNMP is a protocol used for network management and monitoring. It is primarily used for collecting and organizing information about devices on a network, such as routers, switches, and servers. While SNMP is important for monitoring network devices, it does not provide secure remote access for managing files or applications. Additionally, SNMP does not offer encryption or authentication mechanisms necessary for secure remote access. Option C, SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, is incorrect. SMTP is a protocol used for sending and receiving email messages over a network. It is responsible for the transmission of email between mail servers. While SMTP is essential for email communication, it is not designed for remote access or application management. SMTP does not provide the necessary security features for securely accessing a company's network and managing files or applications remotely. Option D, FTP, File Transfer Protocol, is incorrect. FTP is a standard network protocol used for transferring files between a client and a server on a computer network. While FTP facilitates file transfers, it lacks strong security mechanisms, making it vulnerable to eavesdropping, data tampering, and unauthorized access. FTP transmits data in plain text, making it unsuitable for secure remote access. SFTP, SSH File Transfer Protocol, or FTPS, FTP Secure, are secure alternatives to FTP that use SSH or SSL/TLS encryption for secure file transfer, but neither of these protocols is explicitly mentioned in the options provided. Therefore, FTP is not the correct choice for securely accessing a company's network and managing files or applications remotely. Next question. When assessing a vendor, what is the main goal of penetration testing? Option A, to identify vulnerabilities in the vendor's systems and applications. Option B, to evaluate the vendor's marketing strategies. Option C, to evaluate the vendor's financial stability. Option D, to assess the physical security of the vendor's premises. The correct answer is Option A, to identify vulnerabilities in the vendor's systems and applications. Penetration testing, commonly referred to as pen testing, is a proactive security assessment technique aimed at identifying vulnerabilities in systems, networks, and applications. When assessing a vendor, the main goal of penetration testing is to simulate real-world attacks and identify security weaknesses that malicious actors could exploit to compromise the vendor's systems or data. By uncovering vulnerabilities, the vendor can take corrective actions to improve their security posture and mitigate potential risks. Option B, to evaluate the vendor's marketing strategies, is incorrect. Penetration testing is not related to evaluating a vendor's marketing strategies. Instead, it focuses on technical security assessments to identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses in systems and applications. While evaluating marketing strategies may be important for assessing a vendor's overall business approach, it is not the main goal of penetration testing. Option C, to evaluate the vendor's financial stability, is incorrect. Penetration testing is not conducted to assess a vendor's financial stability. While financial stability may be a consideration in vendor selection, it is unrelated to the technical security assessments performed during penetration testing. Penetration testing aims to identify security vulnerabilities and risks that could impact the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the vendor's systems and data. Option D, to assess the physical security of the vendor's premises, is incorrect. Penetration testing primarily focuses on assessing digital security aspects, such as networks, systems, and applications. While physical security assessments are important for overall security posture, including evaluating access controls, surveillance systems, and security personnel, they are separate from penetration testing. Physical security assessments may be conducted independently to evaluate the security of the vendor's premises, but they are not the main goal of penetration testing, which focuses on identifying vulnerabilities in digital systems and applications. Next question. A military base recently deployed large loud dogs that bark fiercely at any movement. What type of security control does this represent? Option A, detective. Option B, compensating. Option C, preventive. Option D, deterrent. The correct answer is Option D, deterrent. Deterrent controls are security measures designed to discourage potential attackers from attempting unauthorized access or actions by introducing elements that increase the perceived risk or difficulty of such actions. In the scenario described, deploying large, loud dogs that bark fiercely at any movement serves as a deterrent control. The presence of these dogs is intended to deter unauthorized individuals from attempting to breach the military base's security perimeter by instilling fear of detection or apprehension. Option A, detective, is incorrect. Detective controls are security measures that detect and report security incidents or policy violations after they have occurred. Examples include intrusion detection systems, security cameras, and log monitoring tools. In the scenario described, the presence of the dogs is not primarily aimed at detecting security incidents, but rather deterring potential intruders from attempting unauthorized access. Option B, compensating, is incorrect. Compensating controls are security measures that are put in place to mitigate the weaknesses or limitations of primary controls that may not fully address a specific security requirement. In this scenario, deploying the dog serves as a primary deterrent control rather than compensating for any deficiencies in other security measures. Option C, preventive, is incorrect. Preventive controls are security measures designed to prevent security incidents from occurring by implementing barriers or safeguards that block or minimize the likelihood of unauthorized access or actions. Examples include access control mechanisms, encryption, and firewalls. While the presence of the dogs may indirectly prevent unauthorized access by deterring potential intruders, the primary purpose of their deployment is to deter, rather than prevent unauthorized access. Therefore, this scenario is better categorized as a deterrent control rather than a preventive one. Next question. Amanda wants to create a secure connection between two company offices using IPsec-based VPN concentrators. Which IPsec mode is best suited for this site-to-site VPN setup? Option A, split tunnel. Option B, TLS. Option C, transport model. Option D, tunnel model. The correct answer is Option D, tunnel mode. In the context of IPsec-based VPNs, the tunnel mode is best suited for site-to-site VPN setups. Tunnel mode encapsulates the entire original IP packet within a new IP packet, adding an additional IP header to the original packet. This mode is ideal for creating secure connections between two networks by encrypting the entire packet, including the original IP header and payload, and then transmitting it securely over an untrusted network like the Internet. Tunnel mode provides network-level security and protects the entire communication between the two sites. Option A, split tunnel, is incorrect. Split tunneling is a VPN configuration where only traffic destined for the remote network is routed through the VPN tunnel, while other traffic is sent directly to the Internet. While split tunneling can offer benefits, such as conserving bandwidth and reducing latency, it is not ideal for site-to-site VPN setups, where the goal is to secure all communication between the two networks. Split tunneling could potentially compromise security by allowing some traffic to bypass the VPN tunnel. Option B, TLS, is incorrect. TLS, Transport Layer Security, is a cryptographic protocol used to secure communication over networks. While TLS can be used to establish secure connections between endpoints, it is not typically used for site-to-site VPN setups like IPsec. TLS is more commonly used for securing communication between clients and servers, such as web browsing or email communication. In a site-to-site VPN setup, IPsec is the more appropriate choice for securing communication between two networks. Option C, transport model, is incorrect. The transport mode in IPsec encrypts only the payload of the original IP packet, leaving the original IP header intact. This mode is typically used for securing communication between individual hosts rather than between networks. In a site-to-site VPN setup, where the goal is to secure communication between entire networks, The tunnel mode is preferred as it encrypts the entire IP packet, providing network-level security. Therefore, the transport mode is not the best choice for this scenario. Next question. Hackers leaked a company's database containing usernames and passwords in plain text on a forum. How can the company best prevent such disastrous data breaches in the future? Option A. Implement salting and hashing. Option B. Configure the web content filter to block access to the forum. Option C. Create DLP controls that prevent documents from leaving the network. Option D. Increase password complexity requirements. The correct answer is Option A. Implement salting and hashing. Salting and hashing are cryptographic techniques used to securely store passwords in a database. When a user creates or updates their password, the password is combined with a random salt and then hashed using a secure hashing algorithm. The hashed password, along with the salt, is stored in the database. During authentication, the salt and hashed password are retrieved from the database, and the entered password is hashed using the same algorithm and compared with the stored hash. Implementing salting and hashing ensures that, even if the database is compromised, attackers cannot easily retrieve the original passwords. Each password hash is unique due to the addition of the salt, making it difficult for attackers to use pre-computed hash tables to crack passwords. Therefore, salting and hashing provide a strong defense against password disclosure in the event of a data breach. Option B. Configure the web content filter to block access to the forum is incorrect. Blocking access to the forum may prevent employees from accessing the leaked database on the forum, but it does not address the root cause of the data breach. The data breach occurred because the company's database stored passwords in plain text, making them vulnerable to unauthorized access. Configuring a web content filter is a reactive measure and does not prevent the actual exposure of sensitive information. Option C. Create DLP controls that prevent documents from leaving the network is incorrect. Data loss prevention controls are designed to prevent unauthorized sharing or leakage of sensitive data from within an organization's network. While DLP controls are important for protecting sensitive information, they are not directly related to preventing data breaches caused by insecure storage of passwords in a database. DLP controls primarily focus on monitoring and preventing the unauthorized transmission of sensitive data outside the network perimeter. Option D. Increase password complexity requirements is incorrect. Increasing password complexity requirements can enhance the security of user passwords, but it does not prevent data breaches caused by storing passwords in plain text. Even complex passwords are vulnerable if stored insecurely. Salting and hashing passwords provide a stronger defense mechanism because they protect passwords even if the database is compromised. Next question. Imagine you've identified and implemented controls to address potential risks in a project. What is residual risk in this context? Option A. The risk level after implementing risk controls. Option B. The inherent risks associated with a particular activity. Option C. The initial risk level identified in a risk self-assessment. Option D. Employee awareness of potential risks in the workplace. The correct answer is Option A. The risk level after implementing risk controls. This option accurately defines residual risk as the risk that remains after risk controls or mitigation measures have been implemented. Residual risk represents the remaining level of risk that the project or activity faces despite the implementation of controls. It reflects the potential impact and likelihood of adverse events occurring after all preventive and corrective actions have been taken into account. Option B is incorrect. This option refers to inherent risk, which is the risk level associated with a specific activity or process before any controls or mitigation measures are applied. Inherent risk represents the risk exposure that exists naturally due to the nature of the activity without considering any efforts to mitigate or manage the risk. Option C is incorrect. This option describes the initial risk level identified during the risk assessment process before any risk controls or mitigation measures are implemented. It represents the risk exposure identified based on the likelihood and potential impact of risks before any actions are taken to reduce or manage them. Option D is incorrect. This option refers to the level of awareness among employees regarding potential risks in the workplace. While employee awareness is important for identifying and addressing risks, it does not directly relate to the concept of residual risk, which specifically pertains to the risk level remaining after controls have been implemented. Next question. Some attacks aim to gain higher privileges on a mobile device. Which of the following options is an example of such a privilege escalation attack? Option A, jailbreaking. Option B, tethering. Option C, man in the middle. Option D, sideloading. The correct answer is Option A, jailbreaking. Jailbreaking is a process that allows users to bypass the restrictions imposed by the manufacturer or operating system on a mobile device, such as an iPhone or iPad running iOS. By jailbreaking a device, users can gain elevated privileges known as root or superuser access, which enables them to install unauthorized applications, modify system files, and customize the device beyond the limitations imposed by the manufacturer or operating system. However, jailbreaking also exposes the device to security risks, as it undermines the built-in security mechanisms designed to protect against malicious software and unauthorized access. Option B, tethering, is incorrect. Tethering refers to the process of using a mobile device, such as a smartphone, to share its internet connection with other devices, such as laptops or tablets, typically via Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or USB. Tethering does not inherently involve gaining higher privileges on the mobile device. Instead, it allows other devices to access the internet through the mobile device's connection. Option C, man in the middle, is incorrect. A man-in-the-middle attack is a type of cyber attack where an attacker intercepts and potentially alters communication between two parties without their knowledge or consent. While MITM attacks can compromise the confidentiality and integrity of data transmitted between devices, they do not necessarily involve gaining higher privileges on a mobile device. Instead, MITM attacks exploit vulnerabilities in communication protocols or network infrastructure to intercept and manipulate data. Option D, sideloading, is incorrect. Sideloading refers to the process of installing applications on a mobile device from sources other than the official App Store, such as third-party websites or developer repositories. While sideloading can pose security risks, if users install malicious or unverified applications, it does not inherently involve gaining higher privileges on the mobile device. Sideloading is typically enabled by adjusting device settings to allow installation from unknown sources, but does not grant elevated privileges beyond the user's existing permissions. Next question. Within a PKI system, a registration authority plays a vital role. What's the main responsibility of a registration authority? Option A, conducting encryption operations. Option B, establishing secure connections. Option C, managing certificate registrations. Option D, issuing root certificates. The correct answer is Option C, managing certificate registrations. A registration authority is an integral component of a public key infrastructure system, responsible for handling various tasks related to certificate management. The main responsibility of a registration authority is to manage certificate registrations. This involves verifying the identity of entities requesting digital certificates, processing certificate enrollment requests, and ensuring that the requested certificates are issued correctly based on established policies and procedures. The registration authority acts as an intermediary between the certificate requester and the certificate authority, facilitating the enrollment and issuance process. Option A, conducting encryption operations, is incorrect. Encryption operations involve the process of encrypting data using cryptographic algorithms and keys to ensure confidentiality and integrity. While encryption is a fundamental aspect of PKI systems, it is typically performed by the entities involved in secure communication rather than the registration authority. The registration authority's role primarily focuses on certificate management rather than encryption operations. Option B, establishing secure connections, is incorrect. Establishing secure connections involves ensuring that communication channels between entities are secure and protected from unauthorized access or interception. While secure connections are essential for transmitting sensitive data in a PKI system, The responsibility for establishing secure connections lies with the entities involved in the communication and the underlying protocols. The registration authority's primary role is not to establish secure connections, but to manage certificate registrations and issuance. Option D, issuing root certificates, is incorrect. Root certificates are the top-level certificates in a PKI hierarchy, trusted by all entities within the PKI system. Root certificates are typically issued by a trusted certificate authority and are used to sign subordinate certificates, forming a chain of trust. While the issuance of root certificates is a critical aspect of PKI infrastructure, it is not the responsibility of the registration authority. Root certificates are usually issued by higher-level CAs or certificate providers with the authority to establish trust within the PKI ecosystem. The registration authority's role is more focused on managing certificate registrations and facilitating the enrollment and issuance process. Next question. An attacker captures a legitimate user's request to an application and then sends it multiple times. What type of application security threat does this scenario represent? Option A, memory leak. Option B, replay attack. Option C, integer overflow. Option D, request forgeries. The correct answer is Option B, replay attack. A replay attack occurs when an attacker captures a legitimate user's request, often containing authentication credentials or other sensitive data, and then retransmits it multiple times to the application or server. The aim is to impersonate the legitimate user and perform unauthorized actions or gain unauthorized access. Option A, memory leak, is incorrect. A memory leak occurs when a program allocates memory but does not release it properly, leading to a gradual depletion of available memory resources over time. Memory leaks are not directly related to the scenario described, which involves the unauthorized repetition of legitimate user requests rather than issues with memory management. Option C, integer overflow, is incorrect. An integer overflow occurs when an arithmetic operation results in a value that exceeds the maximum representable value for the data type used, often leading to unexpected behavior or security vulnerabilities. Integer overflows are not directly related to the scenario described, which involves the unauthorized repetition of legitimate user requests rather than arithmetic operations on numeric data. Option D, request forgeries, is incorrect. Request forgeries, also known as cross-site request forgery attacks, occur when an attacker tricks a user into performing unintended actions on a web application where the user is authenticated. However, in the scenario described, there is no indication of user deception or manipulation. Instead, the attacker directly captures and replays legitimate user requests to the application. Therefore, this scenario is more accurately described as a replay attack rather than a request forgery. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if these questions add value to your preparation. We'll meet in the next video. Take care until then.